For the past 21 days, all that you've been hearing from this guy is build, 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 build. Today, on day 22, we're actually going to talk about killing versus building and why it's cheaper to start over as well as when to kill a build, right? And I'd say that most projects die not because of the initial idea being bad. They died because the structure that I've been trying to teach you how to build and execute simply collapses. It collapses under the weight of not checking your docs regularly or the weight of redirectioning the agent too many times over or just structurally something broke at some point. It happens, right? These models are great, but they can always be better, right? So your job isn't to arm wrestle with AI because that's a battle you will always gonna lose. Your job is to understand when something is broken beyond repair, how to actually kill it the right way, restart, and save credits in the long run. And I'm actually going to kill the build today in front of your eyes. And I'm going to show you that it's not a small build either, right? I've just went through some of my projects and determined that one of them isn't worth building again from scratch. I've tried to build this project, and as you can see, I did it over a course of 2 days. It was like an afternoon on January 26th and even night. As you can see, I was building this up until 9 p.m. And then the very next morning, did a couple more prompts. And I basically just determined, okay, like something was not done right. The goal that I had with this tool was very simple. I tried to build something that would help me extract design tokens for any kind of a website. The problem is that no matter how many times I try to make it work in an accurate manner, it would just skip some of the basic steps, even though I gave it four different sources: Firecrawl, screenshotting, AI vision, like a bunch of four APIs specifically. I tried in many ways to do what I'm was doing, for instance, on day 20. I've shown you the day 20 process. If you haven't watched it, make sure you do. How to clone a brand pixel perfect. This is not it. I've tried to automate it. One of my coworkers, an amazing solutions architect at Lovable called Ben, he was able to do this really systematically. I just quickly wanted to see if I can do something similar, and I failed. Just the wrong setup. I think I just didn't execute this the right way. I always say it's your fault. I will acknowledge that it's mine as well. This project is not something that you build in a jiffy, right? If I go again into the project settings, you can see that I sent 36 messages and spent over 100 credits, right? So to some of you, it may seem like, well, why don't you just try to fix it? Why not add another API? I've tried all of that. I tried enough. I'm ready to kill it. Now, killing something doesn't mean you delete it. I never delete projects. They always stay alive. That just means I'm ready to start over. But I'm not starting over from scratch. My job is, and your job is at this point, is understanding what went wrong and at what point, right? Before we do so, let's go to the resources. I'm pretty determined that this build that I just showed you is dead. Maybe yours isn't, but let's work on this together. Let's determine whether that's true or not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through the project health checker, and I would advise you to do the same. Let's start the assessment of this project. The first question is, does everything frequently break? Right? I fix one thing, something else breaks, and I'll say yes. In this app, that was really the case. That's pretty rare, but it started happening more than I would have liked it to. Do simple changes require touching many unrelated files? Most definitely. I've seen that pattern play out. I didn't have to re-explain the system for every change, so I'll say sometimes it did require a little bit more context than what I would have wanted. Prompts were also sometimes getting longer, and the instructions had to be deeper. I was definitely starting to revert, and um, corrective prompts were definitely a thing. And I definitely dread opening this project. I don't like fixing things really. I'd rather start over, right? And yes, I was continuing mainly because I've invested time. As you can see, I was working on it at night. Like I just wanted to get it done. So, according to my resource right here, I'm experiencing a structural failure. Right, this project will cost me more to maintain than what it's worth. Right, with some grading of 79%. I'm not even sure how it came up with this number. All I know is that I agree, and at this point, I'm ready to kill it. Now, again, that doesn't mean deleting. That doesn't mean opening up a new tab and just starting over blindly. It means doing a proper postmortem. And the way to do it is go to this prompt box and then run this first prompt. I'm going to go copy it, and then I'm going to explain it as usual right here. As you can see, I'm telling Lovable what I want to do. I want to kill this. But before I do, let's talk about what worked well. Why starting from scratch? Why not starting from something that was healthy, right? So in my case, I will say that in this project, what worked well was the overall user experience was good. I felt that the way everything was laid out and all the steps that the user needed to complete in order to extract things were structurally fine. And then I will say that from a design perspective, it looked minimal. I don't have any complaints. I'm totally okay bringing in the current UI system, right? Which again, we all have different tastes. To me, this was sufficient. This was just for my own use, so I didn't care less about it. Now, what caused the breakdown, right? This is what matters the most, right? This is where you need to understand what you've been working on and doing in order to be able to have this not happen again. So in my case, I will say I tried implementing multiple API providers to maximize the output. What I think happened was the opposite. Systems were overlapping over each other too much. Edge functions were expiring, and then I was just getting a pretty um, unsatisfying output, right? In this case, okay. And then patterns that led to cascading issues, I would say. The more I tried to fix this by replacing APIs or refining models or refining prompts, the worse everything would get, right? Which is, in my case, honestly, the truth. And then all I'm asking is really for Lovable to build me PRDs, right? Instead of me starting the whole thing from scratch, I want Lovable to give me all the reusable components, the design system, any architectural notes, and lessons learned to avoid things, right? And then I just send this away, right? I'm basically telling Lovable, this is what worked, this is what didn't work. Help me regenerate the documentation that is going to be relevant whenever I want to restart again. And at that point, like, we'll let Lovable do this. While it's working on that, I'm opening up a new instance of Lovable, new window, right? Whenever we kill something, let's bring something else to life. Let's always try to put a positive note to the whole process by going and taking the second prompt, which is the fresh start with exports, right? We're copying it, going into Lovable, and let me explain it from this interface. We're now using the reusable components, design system, notes, and lessons learned to start a fresh build based on these learnings. And this is the explanation how to use them, right? I can say what the core intent of the new project should be, right? And in my case, I can even ask Lovable for that as well. So let's do that in this section as well. Now that you've created this documentation, can you provide me a 2 or 3 sentence summary of what this project should be about and what is the problem that it solves for the user, right? So I'm basically asking Lovable to create this statement for me so that I can paste it as a starting point. I'm going to pause, wait for Lovable to finish, and then come back so that we can continue. Okay, Lovable created these documents, placed them in a public/exports folder, and then crafted this 2-3 sentence statement for me. So I'm going to copy the message. That's the first part. Add that as a starting point in here. Now you may be wondering, okay, those documents are created. What do I do about them? Well, you download them very easily. Go into the code mode. Don't worry, we're not writing code. And just find the exports folder and then open the files. In the top corner right here, you can see that there's a download file button and option. Just click and then download these onto your device, right? One by one. I'm gonna then the second one. Look how detailed this design system is. I don't have to do anything. I love it. Then the lessons learned, right? Very important. Every build is a lesson. Every failure is a lesson. If you make it that way, you've done something right, really. Let's just attach these files then now. I'm going to choose the files. I'm going to find them in my system, attach all four of them. And then as you can see, when the attachment process is completed of all four, we're sending that prompt away and boom, we killed something for something better to live. That again doesn't mean I have to delete this project. I can simply let it live, right? Just turn it off, right? I'm going to just turn this off. I'll come back to it someday, maybe. Maybe I'm going to need more references. Maybe I'm going to need to learn more about it, right? I'll just keep it on the side for now and try to build this one, right, from scratch, right? So again, to recap this very important session, just because you're killing something doesn't mean that your idea sucked. It just means that the system collapsed. And trust me when I say this, trust me, I'm really trying to save you credits, right? Do not break what's broken beyond repair. Start over. It's 10 times cheaper simply because now you know what didn't work and you know what did. So you can actually make decisions that are not emotion based. I think a lot of people think of credits and think, oh my God, I invested X amount of credits already. I might as well continue. No, stop it, kill it, restart it. If you're unsure whether you should do it, it's a bit of a gimmicky tool, if we're honest, right? It's not there to essentially analyze your project. It's more there to analyze your emotional state, because this is an emotional decision. If you ask me, killing a build is 100% emotion driven. So think of it that way. Do the assessment at least as a fun little gimmick. When you're ready to, do a post-mortem and then do a fresh start the same way I just did. Hope you like this session. I'll see you tomorrow. Keep shipping.